Hey, so I wanted to kind of address from what I've seen, the surge in people fake claiming, especially around like surrounding neurodivergent communities, in terms of like people who aren't part of our communities going thinking they are all righteous and going and fake claiming content creators or anyone on social media who is autistic and is spreading information about autism, or anyone who is suspecting or self-diagnosed. um, it's like the majority of our community, well, not necessarily well, I'll say from what I can see, the majority, but a large part of our community actually accepts self-diagnosis. A large part of our community understands that diagnosis for things like neurodivergent, like things such as autism, is not easy to obtain. Some of us, like myself, went 24 years undiagnosed. I didn't even suspect that I was autistic. And if I had, and I'd seen stuff on it, I might have got diagnosed way earlier. Or at least been able to help quietly manage my own stuff myself and see if stuff helps. And if it does, then I could go and possibly raise it to my GPs. But no, instead I had to wait until someone came and started working at my general practitioners under the mental health segment of it, and who actually was aware of autism and actually saw it in me when saw the signs in me when I was actually going and getting routine mental health therapy for anxiety. So not everyone is as lucky as I am. Not everyone is lucky enough to come across in any mental health practitioner that is knowledgeable on autism, that has actually updated their information on autism. A lot of the especially people who were like kind of went through the medical studies a while ago aren't even up to date on what was previously myths on autism and what the actual current criteria is about how it actually shows, especially in females. We are often like just shoved under the rug and told, no, you are just like severely anxious or depressed. And it's like, no, some of us are actually autistic, but you don't want to even consider that because we're not a dude and we don't have STEM interests, which is science, maths, engineering, stuff like that. At the end of the day, autism doesn't just display one way. It is a spectrum of traits. It's not a spectrum of low to majorly autistic. You're either autistic or you're not. You've either got an autistic brain or you do not. Like, you're born with it. It doesn't just develop. You don't catch it. You can't give yourself autism by believing you're autistic if you're not autistic either. And at the end of the day, people who are fake claiming are doing more harm than good. Like, the main thing you are doing is bullying actually autistic content creators and people offline, away from their own communities, because they are scared to go and post things in case you'll false fake claim them, and then expect them to dox themselves and show all of their information on a diagnostic paper, including the personal information and private information, and dox their location, just to prove that they are autistic. Like, no, we shouldn't have to do that. And at the end of the day, you don't get people going and losing the shit because people are pondering whether they are anxious, like dealing with anxiety or dealing with depression. So why are people going to demonize people and also weaponize that against our community when people consider it just because we are speaking up about it more? Like, I know that most of my content is tailored towards other autistics, but it's also, some of it is tailored towards educating people who aren't autistic. I am by nowhere going saying that if you experience some of these traits or just a couple of them, then you are autistic. I am saying, hey, these is what my autistic experience has been like, and if you relate and things I do help you, then like I have fun help me help you, then that's great. And at the end of the day, if someone goes and watches research, it's like autism to the point where they understand it completely, they have done massive research, which, just so you know, it's often autistics, like, he will actually deep dive autism before they go and are even willing to put a self-diagnosis label on themselves. And at that point, it's like, they are valid because in that and in acting as if that would be what the diagnosis is, in my opinion, because not everyone has the money or the a free healthcare service or even the luxury of finding professionals that knowledge within autism and to get diagnosed. So, but yeah, I guess I can't speak for the whole community, and there are going to be people who disagree with me, but on behalf of my own self and my own opinions as an actually diagnosed autistic person, and from what I've seen, many of the autistic content creators and just people on social media who are autistic say themselves, like, we do not need you going and policing what autism is and who can speak about it and who can even consider that they are autistic. Like, we don't need you doing that. The only thing you're going to do is go and make us feel like we have no safe space online and like it is taboo to talk about. And I'm sorry, but we're done being shut up about, like, being told to shut up about talking about autism. Like, we've been demonized and stigmatized our entire lives and for a very long time now, and in terms of in history, and like the only way people will understand autism and stop stigmatizing the shit out of us and misunderstanding us is by speaking about it. So we're gonna keep doing that, and if that upsets anyone, feel free to just go and click unfollow, like, don't show more by this creator, or unfollow this, I don't know, topic or whatever. Don't search up things related to it. Just scroll on by. Like, we are not harming other people by speaking about things, and I don't feel people are harming our community by self-diagnosing either. If that goes and helps them in their day-to-day and doing things that have helped us help them, like, feel free. I ain't gonna go and be an arsehole about it, and I don't see why anyone, especially non-autistic, should be that way to other people about it too. But yeah, at the end of the day, autism is still majorly not noticed, and it's still at the point where you're more likely to get diagnosed in your late adult life, even up until like 60s, 50s, 60s, before like you get diagnosed, than many other conditions, and then getting diagnosed when you are earlier on in life. So yes, there are plenty of people who do get diagnosed earlier in life, but in terms of for the majority, it doesn't seem nowadays, given how many of us are late diagnosed, that the majority of us are diagnosed early on in life and actually miss out on a lot of accommodations because we don't get diagnosed. So yeah, that is my long rant done. But please just be kinder to people online, and yeah, we don't need people policing our community or who gets to be in there, especially if you don't understand what it's like to be one of us anyway.